it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this really fun loop stitch. This is a wonderful way to add some really fun and kind of whimsical texture to your projects. This is a scarf that I've stitched up recently, and I will be sharing the pattern and the video tutorial on the blog and the channel soon. So this is just a little sneak peek if you are interested in the loop stitch. I have here a little swatch I've stitched up, and we're going to learn how to do this together. This is really easy. It's really just kind of a variation of a single crochet stitch. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I've seen many ways of holding the yarn. Some make the loops go in the front. Some take the loops to the back. So this is the way I like to do it, and you'll have to let me know in the comments below if you like to do it differently. I would love to hear how you like to do the loop stitch. So again, I have a little swatch of some half double crochet stitches just to get us started. And I'm going to zoom way in so you can see what I'm doing here. Now, we're going to start the row because I said it's a variation of a single crochet stitch. So when I'm starting a row of loop stitch, I like to chain one and turn my work. We're going to make some all the way across so you'll really get the hang of this. We're going to work into this very first stitch. Now, that being said, everyone holds their yarn a little bit differently. You might hold it up with your index finger like this. You might hold it differently. I like to hook mine on my pinky and kind of use my index finger to hold it upright like this, and that gives me some nice tension. So you might need to play around with this if you hold your yarn differently than I do, but let me show you how I do it. So I have my yarn kind of over top of my index finger, and then what I'm going to do, again, we're going to work into this very first stitch here. What I like to do is take my thumb and create the loop with my thumb. So I'm going to take my thumb and bring it down, straight down like that. And you can see we've made a little loop with our thumb. And then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go into, now let me just redo that. There we go. I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go into that first stitch with my hook. Now if you notice the yarn is to the right of my hook when I do that, and bring up a loop. Now this part will feel very much like a single crochet stitch. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through both loops, and then you can kind of slip your thumb out. And now we have a little loop. Okay, let's do this a couple more times together. I'll go nice and slow. Let's work into that second stitch. Again, I'm going to hold my work up with my index finger, and then I'm going to take my thumb, bring it straight down. Now if you notice, I'm bringing it about the same to about the same spot as I did with the first loop. That'll keep your loops nice and uniform. I'm using this bottom edge as a guide. You can use something else as a guide if you're working on a project like where the row changes or something like that, but kind of use like a guide as you go across, whether it be the edge or a row or what have you. Okay, now we're just kind of eyeballing this. All the loops won't be exactly the same measurement, but if you kind of eyeball it, they'll look nice and consistent, okay? So again, I'm holding the yarn with my index finger. I'm holding it up like this, and I'm going to take my thumb and bring it down to make a loop. Insert the hook into the stitch. Remember, the yarn is to the right of my hook right now. And we're going to bring up a loop. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring up a loop. Wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through both loops, and you can let go. And you can see, because I'm using that edge as my guide, my loops are pretty uniform in length, okay? Let's do that a few more times. Hold the yarn up with your index finger, go up under it with your thumb, bring down the loop to your edge, whatever edge that you're using as a guide. Insert the hook, making sure the yarn is to the right of that hook like that. Bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, and let go with your thumb. Let's do that again. Bring your loop down with your thumb, and kind of, I'm holding it. You can see I'm like tacking it down to hold it into place. Insert the hook into that next stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, and let go. Bring the next loop down, tack it into place, insert the hook into the stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Okay? Let's do that a couple more times nice and slow, and then we'll kind of pick up some speed. And you can see my loops are kind of all the same length here, okay? Bring your loop down with your thumb, insert the hook into that next stitch, bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Bring your loop down with your thumb, insert the hook into that stitch, making sure that yarn is on the right side of your hook like that, and bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Now, whenever you're learning a new stitch like this, just try to go nice and slow. We're worrying about, well, actually we're not worrying, but we're concerning ourselves with quality, and the speed will come, okay? So let me just show you a few more times. I have the yarn around my index finger, bring down the loop with my thumb, insert the hook into the stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. All right, so once you got the hang of it, you can just start to work across, or however you're doing it on your pattern. Bring your loops down. Just make sure you're keeping them about on the same edge each time, okay? And you'll have the hang of it in no time flat. If you do a couple rows of this, you know, a lot of crochet too, of stitches, learning stitches, is you don't have the muscle memory yet. So it can feel a little bit awkward holding a loop down here while you're trying to do things up here, but just keep practicing and it will come. So let's do this again one more time. Bring down the loop with your thumb, insert the hook into that stitch, that last stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, okay? So now we have a row of loop stitch. And you can kind of, like what I like to do is kind of like sort of comb them down, get them like, sometimes they can be a little wild. If you find that your loops are really wild, some yarns will make more wilder looking loops than others. If you have a steamer, you can kind of steam them a little bit, or not touch it, but sort of hover a steam iron over top, and it'll kind of relax them a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That is how you crochet the loop stitch. And again, be sure and check out my scarf that'll be coming out soon if you'd like to do a project with this stitch as well. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.